Happy Sunday. I hope everybody had a great week. I know a lot of people had some challenging weather that they had to deal with this week, and I hope everybody is in a comfortable spot and resting easy today on this great Sunday. Today is actually Saturday for me, and it's about 75 degrees, partly cloudy here in South Florida. And we're going to take a quick look at some of the things that have been going on in my garden this last week. Until this morning, very early this morning, I had not seen any of the squirrels since I had a talking to with them. So I thought maybe, you know, I had a little Dr. Dolittle in me and I was communicating with them. I don't know where they went all week, but they were completely gone, didn't bother a thing. I didn't lay any more cayenne pepper down. I didn't do anything but water the plants this week. And this morning, though, however, they were, two of them were out about and running around, and I saw one of them scatter up a tree and turn around and he looked at me. So I was kind of happy to see them back, because I was kind of sad to think that they actually left for good. Just wanted them to leave my garden alone. So let's take a look at some of the things that I did. I went ahead and cleaned up the tomatoes here. If you look at last week's video, there was a lot of dead branches and things, so I cleaned everything up, which was really great because I got to see a lot more tomatoes that are on here. Yeah, so that looks really nice. And funny enough, remember when we planted the beefsteak tomatoes down here? I don't know how tall they'll get, but they are actually still alive. They're not really doing much of anything, but they're hanging on. I got some other things sprouting up. I think those are from that the one tomato I shoved down there earlier. And over here on the Roma plant, squirrels have still left the Romas alone. I've got about, I don't know, half a dozen on there. So that's kind of great. In the meantime, I had almost given up on the ones that I picked to keep safe. They'd just been staying green, staying green, staying green. However, look at that. So I'm going to have some fresh Roma tomatoes pretty soon. How fresh they are. They've been sitting inside for a couple weeks. But anyway, they're red. Some of the pepper plants here are not making it, but others are going very strong. So we're glad to see that. The lettuce is growing nice and strong, so that makes me happy. So I haven't cut anything yet. This is where I planted the spinach, and I have two plants, one there and one there. And I think there's one popping up right here. So they did not sprout. All these other things that you see here are weeds. They did not sprout as quickly as the lettuce, but they look like they're coming along. On the vertical tomatoes, we have flowers. How awesome is that? So yeah, so we'll have tomatoes on there soon, which will be interesting to see. Not quite sure what happened to the eggplant, but it is definitely going through something, so I'm not quite sure where we're going to see anything from that. The tomato plant did get eaten before the squirrels had disappeared, but it's coming back and they've left it alone. Pea plants are growing nice and strong. And look at this, I got a lot more onions popping up. So this week I probably will try to replant the onions and the peas into one of these other empty pots that I haven't used. I have been eating off of my kale just about every night, so that's been exciting. The carrots are doing nice. And the potatoes got a little bit, everything got a little dry this week on me. I judged my pots wrong, so I did water them all nicely, and then we got some more rain on top of it, so they perked back up. But they were literally laying all the way down on their sides. But you can see that, like the water, all of a sudden the flowers are coming out everywhere. Now, interesting enough, let's go back and talk about these potato fruit that are still here. I still have these 4. I don't think I have anything more. After doing a little bit more research on it, what I found was that they said it's almost like a perfect storm to get the tomato fruit, the potato fruit. It's got to be, I think it has to stay under 80 degrees for a certain amount of days, which that's a pretty hard feat here in Florida. You have to have high pollination. Well, you've seen my butterflies and stuff, so we've got that. You've got to have the right soil, and everything just has to sort of come together to see the fruit. There are people that plant potatoes for years and years and years and never see any fruit from it. Now, the interesting thing that I found out was that when you plant your potatoes from the tubes, I think they call them, or the potato seed, however it is, that's a clone from the plant that those potatoes came from. When you plant a potato seeds. So when I pop that little fruit open, it's going to be full of thousands of seeds. And when I plant those are going to create new potatoes. It creates like a new strand every time you plant from the fruit. So I think it's going to be kind of fun. I'm going to leave them on there so they get as ripe as possible. And yeah, so I'm going to try to harvest and create a new form of potato. We'll have to come up with a good name for it. Nix Spuds. I don't know. We'll think of something. Here is the other thing of the cherry tomatoes. It has not yet started to flower, and it needs water. So I'm going to have to need to water that. I am thinking I may replant that. What do you guys think? Because I don't think that that's really enough soil for all of that. Here's our wild garden. And yeah, you can see the cauliflower is sprouting up. There's my second celery from the store. There's my first celery from the store. And there's a little pepper plant that's coming up. One of the other things that I did today was I worked on fixing my bird cage. I knew that it was probably too many things planted in the one small pot and that I'd have to deal with it. So I have come up with another way to try and deal with that. And yeah, so let's go take a look at that. Right, so I have everything here I need for fixing up my bird cage. I have my bird cage, which I got so excited this morning because I was in Goodwill and I saw another one just like it. And when I walked up to it, it was missing the bottom, so that was a little depressing. But anyway, so we're going to fix this one up. I had a flowering plant in here, if you remember right, and it just died. I don't know what happened to it because I used that same plant for some other projects over Christmas, and I believe that those are still alive. So... but that's okay. I've got some leftover heather from some of those projects also. So I'm just going to replace the flower that was in there with the heather. And then we'll have nice purple and white heather with the climbing Jenny. I got these great air plants. These are literally just fell out of my trees around my property. So I'm going to use those to sort of fill up the sides a little bit. I've got this instead of the pot. I actually went and ordered this off of Amazon because the ones that they sell in the stores are 14 inches, maybe 12 inches. This was only 9 inches across, so I didn't want it to be too big, but now that I'm looking at it, I'm wondering if it's really even any bigger than the pot. But we're going to go ahead and go for it. I can always change it out again later. So I've got my soil, got my gloves, got my water, got everything I need. So let's get to work. So I hung this here just for a minute so we can take a look at it. So, looks a little messy now, but I think it'll look nice. And I'm going to try to find some cute little jewel birdie or a butterfly or something to put in there. Yeah, still happy with it. Alright. Alright, so that was our little Fix the Birdcage project. I hope you enjoyed it. And thank you so much for coming along and seeing what I did this week in my garden. And I hope you enjoy watching my garden grow. And if you do, make sure to come back next week. And we'll see you real soon.